Hi everyone, it's Abby from PiQtour, and today we're going to go thrifting in Tokyo. Having lived here for a few years, I have to say that the quality of thrifting in Japan is amazing. The quality of the goods themselves is really good, the prices are fantastic, and there's a really good sense of curation and variety here as well. So today we're going to be exploring this thrifting in one of the world's largest cities, and that would be Tokyo. But just so you're not super overwhelmed, we're going to be connecting all of the different areas in a way that makes sense so you can be as efficient and speedy as you possibly can to enjoy as much shopping as possible. Let's get started. Shimokitazawa is one of Tokyo's best neighborhoods for the joy of digging. Vintage shops are scattered throughout the shopping streets, so as you walk, new stores will just keep appearing, and you can find a lot of pieces here for under 1,000 yen. Shimokitazawa originally developed as a subculture hub, especially for theater and music, and that history still shapes the kinds of clothes you'll find, like band t-shirts, military pieces, and casual everyday wear that feels lived in rather than just staged. And in recent years, there's also been a lot of redevelopment in this area. Though these have added new spots to the neighborhood, the really fun, casual subculture vibe of the neighborhood is definitely still here. So if you're here on the weekend, I'm here on a Sunday, and you come to the Shimokita Senrogai kind of open space back here, they have a flea market most weekends. They had a really good selection of kind of more artistic pieces. Like they had a bunch of handcrafted jewelry. They had some press-on nails, which I actually got. My nails are looking a little bit rough, so I was like, why not get these really affordable hand-painted nails. They have kind of custom crafted clothing, and they have really all sorts of little almost like handicraft subculture items. But I will say, if you want to go to the most insane over-the-top flea market that I've ever been to in my life, you have to wait till the end of the video because I go to Tokyo's biggest flea market. We have some dog drama over here. It's fun on the weekend because everyone's just here with friends or with their partner or with their dogs. Lots of dogs. Alright, the next two stores are the New York Joe Exchange. So any Joes that land in Japan have to report here for duty. So all Joes, please understand where you need to go. The Joe Exchange is mainly American casual brands. I somehow also ended up here on the first Sunday of the month, which everything is 50% off, so it was chaos in there. But across from it is a store called Focus, which I also like, and they have a lot of American casual, but they also have some stuff that they have crafted themselves out of stuff. The stuff in Focus was curated really well. It was it's not even Y2K, it's just 2000s, 90s, 2000s fashion, some kind of grunge stuff. Honestly, curated super duper well. Was really fun to look at, even as someone that doesn't wear that kind of stuff. So Focus is a big recommendation. Obviously, anywhere you go, there's always a second street. Got more brand goods here. But it's kind of a more funky selection of designer stuff here. And then, of course, they have non-designer stuff as well. The store selling has really nice, men's style. Mostly, American brands. Got some, Polo Ralph Lauren. Actually, Old Lang Syne has some cute stuff. Another place that I think that's curated well and doesn't just have Goodwill clothing is this Ayat here, and they have some cool pieces that are custom. There's definitely a line here between stores that sell stuff that are just kind of whatever they could get that's American, and places that are curating it pretty well and have a little bit more brand items. So this one, Trevak style, has some more brand options, and even though it's still kind of American stuff. And this place had more of a curation to it. So I like when stores like this organize everything by brand, because it really does show that they're putting effort into curating stuff and not just taking anything and everything. So, you know, any place called Jesus Judas does not play around. This place has a like phenomenal selection of brands, like old brand stuff. Like you can see their list, but some of it is like current trend, some of it's old, but it's all quite well curated. If you like Patagonia, this place Shara has a lot of it, and similar sort of brands. There's always another Koenji, lots of like themed shirts and Hawaiian shirts. This place right here, Lulu, is really cute. It's by Jam, but it's like ladies fashion, but it's very like Y2K, lots of denim. I believe this place is called Ura Focus, and it must be related to Focus, but they have the cutest, like, grunge, sort of Y2K, I don't even know what you call this anymore. Ooh. I love this. I wish I had more time to look in here because they have lots of black, and I do enjoy me some black clothing for all my Disney adults and Disney children. This is your store. As someone who's not really a Disney fan, that was probably one of the craziest store experiences of my life. I felt like I was drowning in Disney goods. I know some of you will like that though, so there you go. It's called Furugi 83. Before you leave Shimokitazawa, they have a million places where you can get food or coffee. Of course, I turned the corner and there's a Burger King. There is that too, but you do have cute places as well. This place is really cool, Desert Snow. They have predominantly men's stuff. Again, not really a surprise, but also stuff like coats, sweaters, jackets, just any possible men's clothes. They got it. From Shimokitazawa, we're gonna head right over to Shinjuku, which is super easy to get to. So just go back to Shimokitazawa Station, which is probably where you came from. We've arrived at Shinjuku Station and we went out the West Exit. So when some people think about Shinjuku West Exit, they would think about giant electronics stores because that's what I'm looking at right now. But behind these electronics stores, there's quite a few smaller camera shops as well that are quite good. So this is a wonderful area to come if you are interested in buying camera or camera parts. As some of you might know, I am indeed a photographer. I am a sucker for cameras. And so I'm going to give you 4 places that I think are good in this area. First, I am basically legally required to say that Yodobashi Camera is one of the best places to get cameras, lenses, things like that. I would like to thank Yodobashi Camera for having this very aggressive bright red sign because they're very easy to find. The store is stupid big, so you have to come to this place, which is just a different building for camera stuff. So it has the C on it. I don't know if you can see the C over here. Now, let's say that you go to Yodobashi Camera and they don't have what you want, or you want to see if you can find it cheaper somewhere else, because it's not necessarily used stuff. A lot of it's new, even though people from like America will find that even new, it can be cheaper, especially if you can get it tax-free. Well, here are the places that I'm going to show you. So first up, you have Camera no Kitamura, which is literally across from me. Camera no Kitamura has used cameras, they have used lenses, they also have new stuff as well. So it's this really big store here, and you can see they have used cameras, new camera, used cameras, and they also buy stuff in case you need to sell something. So this definitely was not my first time going to Kitamura Camera, and it certainly won't be my last, especially because I just got sucked into buying something. Truly an offer that I could not refuse. I love their selection of stuff. It's just like essentials. They don't have anything like too crazy or vintage, but if you're just looking for basic lenses, basic cameras, they have them, and they have them at really good prices, as you can tell by what I just did to my wallet. So let's go to the next store. The next place is really popular on the internet, especially with foreigners, for just having phenomenal selection and prices, but mainly selection, and that would be Map Camera. And if you look at the list of stuff they have, that's not surprising in the least. I think anything you could possibly think of camera-wise, they probably sell here. Next up is the used camera market, which you have to come down this like little alleyway to go up. If you're interested in like film, especially really antique cameras, or if you just want one of those little like trendy right now point and shoot compact cameras, they have a lot of those. This place is definitely run by two old guys that just love cameras because everything in there is very old. One more place is this used camera box, which has a lot of like vintage cameras. And Japan in general is a great place to get camera and camera parts if you aren't already aware of that, because they're very well maintained. When stores buy cameras and parts secondhand, they really like check them incredibly well. They'll like rate them on a scale if there's any flaws. I've bought a few of my camera things like secondhand, and it's always like, you know, there's a teeny tiny minor scratch here that we want you to know about. That would never be a problem for me, but that's how like intense they are. They'll really check everything so thoroughly. Like, the quality is absolutely everything here. So you never really have to be worried about, oh, what if I buy this camera and something's wrong with it? That's probably not going to happen, especially since you guys will probably have to leave Japan. I think you're in safe hands when you buy stuff here, especially secondhand as well. So I'd say my ultimate recommendation would be Kitamura camera. I just think their selection and their cost performance is pretty much as good as it gets. Let's continue on to a totally different kind of area, and that would be Koenji. So we're going to head back to the station where we came from, Shinjuku Station, and roll over there. It's only a few minutes on the train. Alright, so we made it to Koenji now, which is very much a Chuo line town, and that means that it has lots of character, but it's also quite relaxed. It's very walkable around here, very pleasant. And Koenji is somewhere where vintage fashion, food, and subculture all kind of coexist. They're famous for ramen and curry here, and it's also got the Koenji Awa Odori, which is one of the biggest dance festivals in Japan. Right now I'm on the north side of the station. I have two shops to show you on this side, and then we're going to head down to the south side, which has the bulk of the places that I'm going to show you. This store had a really cute selection of mainly like European/American brands, but for ladies. And it's a selection of stuff that Japanese women absolutely love. So they actually do have some Japanese women's brands in there as well. While this won't speak to everyone, it's kind of like a very casual, laid-back ladies style that I think some people would like. The other place I recommend is right here, Sango. So it's more like casual men's fashion. They have some cute stuff if you like t-shirts and like jackets and like kind of simple casual streetwear style, like not like designer or anything, just chilling, just vibing. All right, let's head to the other side of the station. By the way, please don't look too closely at the pimple directly above my lip. It's driving me absolutely insane, and I only get annoying pimples like that when I have to film a video. First up is Old Tora, which has kind of a fun selection of vintagey clothes. A bit more funky than some of the other stores around here. I guess that's represented by the Rolling Stones outside, but kind of like cooler fits. Next up is Whistler, which is like leather goods and men's like European jackets and fashion. And honestly, this is so sick. This is so cool. For that like British Sherlock fit, this is your spot. Next, we get edgy again at Lilu. Went from stylish old Britain to now, what is this? Edgy punk. This place was like far from affordable, but honestly one of the coolest stores I have been in.
Next up in this Shotengai, you have a few different places that are fun to look at. First up is this little trip to heaven, which is cute, lacy, frilly, girly sweaters, shirts. It's, again, kind of giving raiding grandma's closet, but cuter. Not to say grandma's not cute, but you know, I don't know if grandma's wearing this corset. Next to it, you have Step Ahead, which is more like men's, like simple streetwear fashion, like more casual. You have some army jackets, you have some sweatshirts with stuff on it, you have some Patagonia jackets, you have some leather jackets, sweatshirts, the goods. This is very, very standard practice at some of these places. Is this like the world's oldest Daiso or what? Also on the bottom floor, you have a place that has a selection of like vintage designer. But then if you go upstairs, they have more like basic casual wear sort of stuff, which I'm genuinely out of the way to describe what that is. So I'm just going to show it to you. This whole Shotengai is like seriously the way to go. A million things to look at. I can't not go on a second street. I'm sucked in.
Next, we move on to Shibuya. So we took the JR 200 line back to Shinjuku and then transferred to the Shonan Shinjuku line to Shibuya Station. Shibuya is definitely one of Japan's iconic trend-setting areas. With landmarks like the Shibuya crossing behind me and Shibuya 109, it has continuously influenced youth culture. In the 90s, Shibuya gave rise to the Gyaru culture, as well as the iconic Shibuya-kei music movement. But thrift shopping here feels less like old clothes and more like current trends. So the selection here is phenomenal, probably better than almost anywhere else I've seen in Japan, but of course the prices are a little bit higher. Most shops that buy here will buy based on current trends rather than like rarity. So instead of trying to like dig too deep to find old vintage iconic pieces, you're really just going to be getting a feel for what Tokyo fashion is right now. From the Shibuya crossing area, you can really go in any direction, but I'm going to start by heading on towards the Center Guy street here, which is like a pedestrian walkway street. Next up is this Komehyo, which is honestly god tier. Like if you like brand goods, it's 3 floors and they have more bags than I have ever seen in my entire life. Like everything from kind of like vintage, they got some Coach up to like vintage Gucci, and then they even have like a bunch of Birkin bags, which someone that could never afford a Birkin bag was actually kind of fun to look at. Great selection of clothes, pretty good selection of jewelry. They have everything from like Tiffany to chrome hearts. This is a pretty god tier place. Obviously the prices are maybe a little bit high, but they're pretty close to like the going market rate that I see online. So if you are into brand goods, you cannot miss this place behind me, Komehyo. Next up is this spot, Watchneon. Don't ask me to pronounce that, but this place has, as you would guess, a lot of watches. Everything from more affordable ones to like Rolex, Grand Seiko. Next shop I recommend in this area is A La Mode, which has a few different shops for different things, whether it be watches or bags or jewelry. The one behind me is for bags and jewelry, and I actually got a really cute little Tiffany bracelet in there for a good price, which is lots of like silver jewelry. Pretty decent selection of bags, both vintage and like more like current or trendy. So decent selection. Happy with it. Also behind me is the bag one, and literally across the street is the like watch one. So the next place I'll talk about is this Kindle behind me. I'm usually a pretty big fan of Kindle. I like that they usually have a pretty good selection of more unusual stuff, but this one was pretty mediocre, to be honest with you, unless you are a man that likes streetwear, or you like men's streetwear, I guess I should say. In which case this is a good place for you. Anything else, and selection was not too exciting. Continuing on. Alright, the next place is behind me, newer, and this took me like 10 minutes to find. It's in this building right here. They were doing work on it. I literally walked around forever. It's directly across from the line Friend Square. but this place is literally just a giant warehouse of bags. Like that's it, that's the experience. They have a lot of bags, pretty good selection, a lot of like vintage. I took some pictures in here just to kind of show you guys the vibes. It's certainly not like when you go into some of these like brand thrift stores and, you know, the staff almost treat you like you're in the actual Gucci store with that kind of level of these people are here to spend money. Nobody in there gave a crap about anything. You just walk around the big room and look at bags. Continuing on. Next place is this candle behind me. I think this is the best candle in the area after looking at a bunch of them. It has a pretty decent selection of both men's and women's fashion. Really small selection of bags and jewelry, so like don't come here for that. But clothes-wise, quite good. Kendall usually does clothes quite well. Anything from like kind of designer brands to just kind of like nice Japanese brands. And a few foreign brands. There's like a Harley Davidson shirt in there, so you got options. So once you're done in Shibuya, it's pretty easy to walk over to Harajuku and Omotesando. So right now I'm on Cat Street, which if you've watched my Harajuku video, you might recognize because it's just this very wavy street, kind of like a cat's tail. And of course the fashion that you'll find in this area is heavily dependent on what part of Harajuku / Omotesando you're in. So back here on Cat Street, it's very much a combination of like global brands. Like I literally have Adidas behind me here. There's a new Coach store down the street. But then like small independent vintage shops. The first one I'll point out is not quite a small independent vintage shop, but it does have a great selection, and that's Ragtag. So this is honestly one of my go-tos if I want something a little bit different fashion-wise. Not so much like designer, although they do have some designer brands, but more just kind of like, dare I say, mid-tier brands that are much more affordable but still interesting and nice. Behind me, next to Ragtag, you have a place called Step Ahead, and it's a pretty good example of what you'll see a lot of around here, which as an American, I like to lovingly call Goodwill fashion, because it literally looks like flannels and college sweatshirts and American denim that you could find maybe at your local Goodwill. This kind of stuff I think is not quite so interesting to foreign tourists, although Japanese people love it because it's of course a different fashion for them, right? But if that's something you're interested in, they do have a decent amount of stuff in there. Next up, I don't know if this quite counts as thrifting, but I'm going to throw it in here anyway. There's lots of like small independent jewelry stores through here. The one I really like is behind me. It's called Aqua Silver. It's almost chrome heartsy, but pretty affordable, and I had a really fun time looking in there. There's something to keep in mind. There's lots of just like little small whatever they sell stores, jewelry, bags, shirts, kind of like vintagey aesthetic. Whether or not it's used, of course, is irrelevant, I guess. Next up is a place called Flamingo, which has what I also lovingly refer to as raiding grandma's closet fashion. So we got a lot of that, but it's really cute, and some of y'all can pull that kind of stuff off. So if you're that individual, come here to Flamingo. They have a really fun selection. I enjoyed looking at it. It's also mostly American brands, but they do some like remakes where they have gone in and like sewn different pieces together, which was actually really cool. There's another, yeah, it's windy. There's another newer. I genuinely have never seen so many bags in my entire life. I don't know where they get these, to be honest. It's a little suspicious how many bags they have. They really got a lot. Once you reach Takeshita Street, it starts getting even more fun and exciting and busy. You have a lot of stuff that is A, for like students and affordable through here, B, like really cute, like fun, kawaii clothes, and C, you do have some still like brand items. So actually I just bought a bag in here at Brand Collect, and they had a really nice selection of bags and clothes, designer stuff. But all the way up here, you have Jumpin' Jacks, and this is dedicated to like 50s fashion and then like Elvis.
The store was so cool. I spent like 10 minutes in there just looking at everything. They have vintage stuff from everything, America, Japan. They had a whole section of like 80s Japanese fashion, which was really cool. I hope y'all have watched my Harajuku video. Next up is Yamahisa used clothing. If I can get to it. They had a really fun selection of like thrifted Y2K fashion, actually like really well selected, I think, as well as lots of big chunky sweaters, and again some of that good old Goodwill fashion. I saw some brands like Massimo, Banana Republic, kind of in that realm of clothes, but actually well selected. It was really fun to look in there. I didn't expect to enjoy that so much, so that's why I'm recommending it. Wow, it's windy. Okay, so a few more shops. Here's Jam. I talked about Jam before, I think in my other video. Don't worry about what my hair is doing. So Jam is Jam is mostly men's clothes, and it's mainly like Goodwill, but select. And they have a very big selection of stuff, like massive. So I think most men could definitely find something nice here, like some good Wrangler pants, a nice flannel, a nice button down. They got all of that, and they got a lot of it. So, a pretty good store for men, but not really anything for people that want ladies' fashion. Another similar chain is Koenji, which I think I talked about in some video in Osaka. But they have both men and women's stuff, and if you can see through the window, it's very much vintage, especially like American vintage, but they have Japanese vintage too. 70s, 80s, 90s, mode rock, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's I've gotten a few things that are obviously like vintage 80s here. This is speaking to anyone in my audience. By the way, you might sometimes hear the term DC brands, and this is a Japanese-made expression, and it refers basically to designer brands that became popular in Japan, like especially Comme des Garçons, Yohji Yamamoto, and Issey Miyake. So you'll see this a lot where these shops have kind of like a little section for like American designer brands, and then they have more for these like DC brands. If you don't need more designer, Italian, French, European, or American vintage, and you want to get something that's like super Japanese, look for DC brands. Alright, so now we're gonna head back to Harajuku Station and get on that Yamanote line to go to the next place. Let's go. We are now in Jimbocho, which is one of the largest used book districts in the world, and it feels like it. It's literally like walking into a library city where the whole street is just lined with books. And honestly, this whole area feels less like a shopping district and more like a warehouse of knowledge. And you can find everything from old books, whether in Japanese or in English, to old maps, to old postcards, to like theater scripts and pre-war architecture books. Literally, like if you can name a book, they have it here. And yes, they also have new manga and new light novels and all of those fun things. So, and of course, being a place filled with bookstores, there's also like a million cafes here. So literally, as you walk along the street, it just smells like coffee, books, coffee, tea, just chilling. I could like just sit around in these bookstores forever and just look at stuff, because it's just the most unique selection, like everything from like modern stuff to historic stuff that I did not think I'd see. It's semi-related, but my stationery fans should drop by Boom Podo. I'm just saying that because I'm never going to make a video just on this one area. But if you're into books and you're into stationery, this is like the ultimate stationery store.
So as we head towards Ochano Mizu Station, you will then kind of leave the book section and enter the music section. So there's so many music stores through here selling anything from instruments to parts to strings to records to CDs. In front of me is Disc Union, which has a lot of like jazz and groove sort of records, CDs, DVDs, LPs, whatever you could possibly think of. And then you also have used instruments, so if you go like right down here, this is a used guitar shop. So we're gonna head into the station. Definitely if you're into music, come to this area. If you're into books and anything that's on paper, go to Jimbocho. I really enjoyed both areas, although Jimbocho was such a vibe. We're gonna head over to somewhere quite a bit less relaxed and more overstimulating, but that I know a lot of you will definitely enjoy. And that is Akihabara. Ochano Mizu Station. Let's go. Alright, we have arrived in Akihabara, and today Akihabara is famous worldwide for anime games and otaku culture, but at its core, it's a district built around electronics and electronic components. After the war, shops selling parts for repairing radios and appliances all gathered here. That culture evolved with DIY electronics and eventually merged with modern subculture. But if you are not an electronic parts person, I do have a few other recommendations for you. And first up would be a place where you can get Pokemon cards and other trading cards. And that is a place here called Hallelujah, or if I pronounce it how they wrote it, Harajuku. There's like 3 different locations here, and the one behind me is Hallelujah 2. Hallelujah is basically floor on floor of Pokemon cards. So this area around here also has quite a few places where you can get all sorts of trading cards, but the big thing right now is, of course, the Pokemon cards. I will say that I'm no Pokemon card expert, but I have been informed that this place has some of the best prices in the area. So do with that information as you will. This place is Tokyo Radio Department Store, which is where, if you've ever wondered where old electronics go to die, they go here. But when they're here, they're still impeccably maintained. So one thing you have to note is that not all of this stuff works, of course. A lot of these are parts, they're junk, they're things that people, if you know what to do with, you can do what you need to do with them. Make sure that before you buy something, you check if it says that it works or not. I have really no idea what almost any of those things were, but my electronics people, Godspeed to you. The next place is something a little bit more up my alley, and that is a place called Super Potato. And no, they don't sell potatoes. Even better, in fact. I don't know, is anything better than like a really good potato? One thing I'd like to note as a frequent window shopper of like figurines is that honestly this area is a little bit more on the expensive side for figurines, especially the streets like out in the front, because they know everyone comes here for that, right? My biggest recommendation is if you really are someone that wants to come and spend big on figurines, consider going to somewhere that is not here. Especially just like a random like book off or something in some other city, not like in a super duper saturated touristy area. Yes, the selection won't be quite as good, but the prices will be way better. Unless you're looking for something really niche, in which case maybe this is the spot. Alright, let's go to Super Potato. I'm gonna take the stairs because I'm healthy and I just ate like 7 plates of sushi. Oh my god, it's my boy Kirby. Was that store very fun to walk around? Yes. Did it also smell like farts? Absolutely yes.
Here at Sengoku Densho is another place that I do not understand because it has an absolute insane amount of electronic parts, like guitar parts, Raspberry Pi stuff, it says, arcade controller parts, all the possible parts, components, kits, component part people. This is the spot.
One more game store I'll show you here, and that is Beep. So you go down this kind of intimidating set of stairs, and then games. They had a fun little selection of stuff, and it was nice to look around. One more thing is people sometimes ask me if this is like a good place to get PC parts, and I would say it depends on what kind of part you're looking for. If you're looking for like a whole motherboard, maybe not. I think this is probably more expensive in this area than finding it elsewhere in Japan. But obviously, if you're looking for, like I said, very specific components and parts, yes, of course, this is a great place to get them. Next, we take the Yamanote line to Ueno. Ueno has this place called Ameyoko, which is one of Japan's most famous shopping streets and which developed from post-war black markets. While it is known today for food and daily goods, it has a deep connection to the military. So you have many shops here that deal in American military surplus, and you can definitely still find a wide selection of military clothing and gear today. This is everything from everyday denim to flannels to MA1s to flight jackets. And although prices are low, just make sure that you differentiate something that is an original, because they have a lot of original stuff here, or a replica. Now, one more thing that a lot of you like to buy when you come to Japan is a skajan. So if you want to get a skajan, you have quite a big variety here, and I like this store Hinoya. In between Ueno and Asakusa is Kappabashi Kitchenware Street. So this is where we're going to get some kitchen goods. So anything you could possibly need in the kitchen, and I mean just about anything, they have it here somewhere. Now, I will say here that you'll get a combination of new stuff and antique stuff, so I'm kind of just going to be liberal with this and show you both just while I'm here. If you get lost, just look for the man. First place we're going to look at is Dengama on the corner here. They have all kinds of beautiful plates, mugs, tableware, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, I eat this kind of stuff up. Prices are pretty fair. Next up, the ultimate place across the street is Nimi. This sells every kitchen supply you could need. Ah yes, what I've always needed. A little tiny plate just for takoyaki. Another good place is this Kamasa, which sells everything from like normal cookware stuff, all kinds of pots and pans, to over on this side they have knives. They have all sorts of like really good quality knives at pretty fair prices. And they'll be able to help you choose your knife too, if you don't know what you're doing. Knives. It feels like Ollivanders for knives. Oh my god. If you need any fake food, don't forget to check out Tokyo Beacon, where you have a lovely accumulation of food that looks just about good enough to eat. It almost gets you. I don't know, actually, I'd probably try to eat some of this, to be honest with you. Especially those. Alright, now we're here at Oi Racecourse Flea Market, which I will say right off the bat is incredibly huge and overstimulating, and that's because it is Tokyo's biggest flea market. They have 300 to 500 vendors, which is insane, and it's only on the weekends. So that's why I'm kind of putting this scene at the end of the video. So they have pretty much everything from food to coffee to clothes to bags to handicrafts.
So if you're looking for something, they probably have it. I'm so excited. Wow, 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 wow. They also have lots of food trucks. I got a coffee from here, which was really good. Bags, bags, bags. So once you go around to all these different areas in Tokyo, you can really see kind of the accumulation of different skills and knowledge and cultures that have just developed in different areas. And I think it really adds a new depth to Tokyo that I also enjoy getting to explore. Hopefully y'all can find some good stuff while you're here. And make sure you like and consider subscribing because it really does help me out. And let me know in the comments what you are going to buy in Tokyo. See you guys in the next video. Bye.